I know I was home and I was by myself in the house drinking by myself. Thought I had it all under control. Went and got some more. Jumped in my brand new car. That thing only had less than 1,000 miles on it. It was brand new right out the showroom. And yeah. And I don't remember nothing after that. All I know, I just woke up. I was like, where am I at? And actually, when I was in the hospital, there's one thing I do remember. I was sitting there with my eyes closed, and I never thought, because I always said, I felt like my dad he was selfish. I had a lot of resentment towards him, because he left. He left us. Felt like it was coward. Why would you go out like that instead of fight? You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. That was my resentment towards my dad for committing suicide. But I did sit in that bed. My eyes were closed. And I do remember speaking to God, honestly. And I told him, I'm ready to go. I can't seem to get this right. I'm ready to go. When I said that, I instantly woke up. And when I woke up, 2 of my cousins were sitting there with their hands on me. And I looked up and I knew who they were. That's all I can remember. Yeah, my name is Jamel Freeman. I live in Frederick, Maryland. I'm originally from New Jersey, and right now in school at Salisbury University, pursuing my bachelor's in social work, ultimately getting my LCSW-C. My experience at Tranquility Woods was something. It was new. I did look into it. I did get a lot of references from other individuals from the recovery rooms, but what I could say on the backside of it, as far as a business, it was professional, reliable, courteous, and it did take me some time to actually get comfortable to the setting of this new process in which we call recovery. But after a while, it became like a second home to me. You know, it really did. The staff, and I never forget it. And that's why I feel, as long as I'm in this area, I feel a commitment of service to the organization, to my second family. The first year, it was an eye-opener. I got to see how strong I really was. And because I relied on a power greater than myself, and I allowed that higher power, my higher power, which is God, I let him just take control of the wheel. Now, it was hard, because I want to be in control, you know? But, what I've come to the understanding is that my higher power didn't come to bring a religion. He came to bring a relationship. And then once I knew I could start trusting, then I could trust the process, and, but yeah, the first year, it had its ups and downs. I've lost people in my life, family, friends, people I went to high school with. Had a lot of trials and tribulations, but I didn't give up, and I kept doing what was suggested by Tranquility Woods. I did the IOP, sponsor, meetings, church, everything, and it's paying off, But I do take it one day at a time. And that first year, yes, and still to this day, 2 years and 8 months later, I'm still taking it one day at a time. You know, humans are creatures of habit. And I read that once you start doing things, like once you get into a regimen or something for 30 days, it starts to become a routine.
Right.
So all I did was what I did in Tranquility Woods, I just brought it home with me. The only difference was reality. In Tranquility Woods, I left reality out there. And here, focused on me. Kind of like, I mean, it's basic as it sounds, the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. So I just stayed in the now. I focused on the now. I focused on what I was going through, even where it had to do with court or children or school or work. And certain things I did not let it, because it takes more strength, more energy to be angry, to be mad. I'm noticing all this now. But when I was in my act of addiction, which was drink, no, I didn't even notice that. But now, certain things I could just let it roll off my back and say, look, man, I just can't, you know? Because that's why I did, drink and involve myself in mind-changing and brain-altering chemicals, because it would just allow me not to feel when I was in that moment. I just sat at the table and I just started writing. And it was just about my whole experience being in a rehab. None of my family, nobody went to rehab. I was the only one. Because I wanted to end this thing. And I did it. And I just wrote the book, and it just talks about my whole experience while being here. To visit with my mom, the up and downs I was having with other people and other personalities and just all that stuff, man. It just took me back to some other challenging events that I've encountered in my life. And I'm just like, oh God, I'm doing this again. But in a different setting, if that makes sense. And that's basically what the book is about. It's mental health, substance abuse, and trauma. I wrote it, contribute to some friends I've lost. My father, who was a Master Chief in the Navy, and my dad committed suicide. And he did it right after my son was born. He only got to hold my son a couple months after he was born. And he just said, be a better father to him than what I was with you. That's some of the words my dad left me with. So here it is, I'm a brand new father. Don't know what I'm doing. Let alone didn't even really have a relationship with my own dad, because he was trying to be my friend more than my father. And I think the only reason why he didn't know what he was doing, because he didn't have a relationship with his father. And I would see it. And it's so crazy, like how I remember all this stuff like it was yesterday. I even remember when my dad locked himself in the bathroom after him and my mom had split, and I didn't know what my dad was doing. And I'm in high school, and I busted into the door because I kept calling him. I said, Dad, what are you doing? He wasn't answering, and finally he opened it because he knew I wasn't going to stop. And he had a bottle in his hand, and he said, this is how I handle my problems. And in my head, I'm like, I wouldn't think I would be doing that, but let alone I was doing it myself. The visit went well. I mean, I think, she got to see. I know it hurt her, just seeing a child like that, seeing a child vulnerable and everything. And I never thought, and that was the first time she's seen me since, it's the second time she's seen me since my accident. Because as far as from what I've heard, I was looking really bad. When you talk about 25 fractured bones, face like dislocated from his bottom jaw dislocated from his actual face. You know, because everybody's like, yeah, you don't want to see your picture, you know, so I don't either. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we have gotten even more tighter than we was before. And the relationship is honest, you know, because I feel like once you're being honest in a relationship, you're being, because everybody feels like sometimes when you have a relationship and you start having arguments, you're like, oh man, this is not going to work. Or this, you know, we don't have no communication. No. As long as you are entitled to both voice your opinion, you're being honest with each other. And you can understand each other and you can talk to each other and you value each other's opinion. That's relationship. You can do this. Because that's probably the question, can you do it? And the question probably is too, man, this is going to hurt. Yeah, it is. It's going to hurt. But it's temporary. The happiness is long. The hurt is temporary. And that's why we did what we did, because we wanted to get over that temporary feeling. It's only temporary, but there's people here there's still people out there that care, like me. And even if you thought about coming to Tranquility Woods or whatever recovery center you decide, reach out, but only take it one day at a time. Live in the now. You may miss the message in the day. You're still here, so you still have another chance. Because if you wasn't, you probably should have been going. So you sit back and let that marinate. You're still here. So you have purpose. And let people help you to find that purpose. That would be my message if I could give to a person looking for help.